Hello guys, Robot1 along with Charmander in the background as always, coming at you with a new Yu-Gi-Oh video. Now, in today's Yu-Gi-Oh video, we're going to be showcasing to you, as you can see in front of you, a deck profile. But not just any deck profile, my first ever Remote Duel Locals deck profile. I went to a Remote Duel Locals this weekend, signed up for it, my mates got me into it, my mates told me to do it, so I obliged them, I entered, found out halfway through the tournament that you don't get prizes until the end of the month apparently, and here we are with a deck profile for you guys. Now, I played Dogmatika Invoked throughout this entire tournament, which was honestly really good. I didn't have a single issue with the deck whatsoever. I had one hand that really just was unplayable, and then the rest really just won me the games, and I went 2-0 3 times throughout the entire tournament. It was 5 rounds of Swiss. I played a lot of really cool people who were really interesting and really nice, and honestly it was just a cool experience to try out my first technically Remote Duel Locals. Like, I know I've Remote Dueled in the sealed only league, but I've never really gone to an actual Locals for Remote Duels, so this was a good experience. But we played Invoked. I played against 5 rounds of Swiss against 5 different decks, actually. There was not a single deck that I played twice. I played against round 1 Virtual Worlds. That was honestly a swift 2-0. I was able to beat them very easily, just them trying to play the game, my hand trap saying no because I had like stuff like Skullmeister and all of these other cards, Alistair, Dogmatica Ecclesia, draining his extra deck a lot of the time and just going through the game. It was really, really easy. Round 2, I went up against Phantom Knights, which game 1, quick and easy, I impermed his Rusty Bardich, OTK'd him. Game 2, he basically made an Dark Rebellion Arc Dragon, or Rebellion Arc Dragon. Couldn't kill me with the Arc Dragon, and then because I only opened Dogmatica cards if I remember correctly, and then I just went ahead and made Underworld Goddess, and every time he tried to summon from the graveyard I negated it until I got to cards to play the game, and I did end up tributing 2 Alistair that got Fog Bladed twice to tribute summon into a Nibiru, and won that game, and it was just like, okay, cool, I win. Then round 3 we played against Burning Abyss. Game 1 I opened unplayable. I couldn't play the game. There was no way in hell I could play the game. Game 2, I end up just killing him with Invoked and Dogmatica cards. Game 3, it was pretty much game 3 was just we go into a long debate. He tries to summon tour guides, I stop his tour guides, I have hand traps to stop him, I go ahead and summon Invoked cards, I kaiju'd his Beatrice that he summoned turn 1, which was easy for me, and then I just kept draining his extra deck with cards like Maximus. Round 3, I played against Tri-Brigade Lyrilusk, I believe it was, Tri-Brigade Lyrilusk, and that round was actually kind of interesting because game 1, I pretty much just waited for him to play his specific card and then stopped him at the key combo moment with an imperm on his Ceres when he tried to banish cards, and then I won. Game 2 was the same thing, but I did it with a Mecha Bar, and it seems like the deck has a big choke point. I haven't really played against it much, but from that game, it was just literally, you do your stuff, I Skullmeister one of your cards, I stop it with a Mecha Bar, and we go from there, which was pretty interesting and pretty cool to see. Like, Tri-Brigade wasn't that hard. And then round 5, I played against Ollie Newton, a guy I haven't actually seen for a very long time, and he was playing his Zodiac Eldritch deck, and game 1 was a lot of fun. It was honestly just a great game between Ollie and me. I end up, well, actually no, game 1 was literally just, he summons Borbo, I made Mechaba, had a Forbidden Droplet set, he goes Borbo, tries to attack me with Borbo, and then I Forbidden Droplets his Borbo and he scoops. Game 2, he goes ahead and sets up his board. I tried to go Alistair, he negates Alistair. I tried to destroy his back row, he gets it all back. And then I scoop because I realized, because of the last time when I tried to get Alistair and was unable to get to Invocation, I was like, yeah, he's just going to kill me next turn. And then game 3, he opened completely unplayable. He opened all monster cards with no Zodiacs, only hand traps, 2 Gammas, it was like 2 Gammas, a Golden Lord, an Ash Blossom, and I think a Pot of Prosperity. And during that game, he even Pot of Prosperity free and revealed 2 Cursed Elderlands and a Pot of Prosperity when he had already Cursed Elderland, which was kind of funny against him, to be completely honest. But that was the all the tournament rounds. It was a lot of fun to play against these guys, and honestly the tournament was really nice. It seemed really well run and really quick as well. I think I only played for about 4 hours in that entire tournament, and it was just really nice experience to be able to play online and just be able to actually play real Yu-Gi-Oh again. But that was the tournaments. Let's actually go ahead and showcase you the deck profile, guys, now, because I've been talking about the rounds for a long time. So let's go ahead and go in it. So starting off, we obviously play the free Alistair. He's a free of, you don't play less than 3 unless you're playing Shadows where you play 2. He searches your invocation, that's all he's good for, and if he gets Ash and you have invocation in hand, well, that's just invoked, mate. We also play 2 Ecclesia. Most people play 3. I chose to cut it down to 2. I felt like because we've got so many ways to get to it through Nadir and Titanclad by sending with punishment, that you don't really need the 3rd. And to be honest, I never really want to see this in my opening hand. I really want to see Nadir's Servant more. So I chose to put it down to 2, and 2 was just perfect. I didn't really need the 3rd. I also play 1 Knighted. You don't need more than 1. It's just basically an effect veiler that you get free special summon. He was really crucial throughout the tournament though, because a lot of the times I summoned him and he made me possible to go over really big beat sticks or really big defenses that I couldn't get over, such as like Gossip Shadow. He had my opponent against the virtual world. I summoned Knighted and I was able to attack over his Gossip Shadow only because I had the Knighted. Like, it comes in clutch. 1 Maximus. We only play 1 Maximus. Originally, I thought this card was really bad, and I still have my opinion on this card, that this card is pretty bad a lot of the time, but my full opinion on it is, this card is only bad when your opponents are playing Elder Entity Unts. If they don't play Elder Entity Unts, this card is amazing. This card gave me so many games just because of the fact that I could keep sending Unts and Omega to the graveyard to put my opponent's cards. I could go ahead and get the App Clone in the graveyard a lot easier to be able to go ahead and search the Shadow Schism. It was just a really strong card, and it's really bad when your opponent plays Unts, but if your opponent doesn't play Unts, the card's amazing. So it's a format defiant card, and honestly, without Unts in the extra deck, I would play this card more than 100%. It was so good throughout the whole tournament. For hand traps though, we play 3 Ash Blossom, just one of the best hand traps in the game. I'm not gonna go too deep into it. 3 Nibiru, it's Nibiru. I don't think I need to go into why Nibiru is good right now. We've basically gone back a whole format without VFD, where you're able to then go ahead and just see your opponent special summon a lot, 5th summon, drop the Nibiru, look at them and be like, yeah, you got hit by Nibiru. Good job, man. I win. Let's go next game. It was never bad in my hand, and honestly, the only time I sided it out was against the Eldritch player, because I honestly didn't see them going to 5 summons. Like, Zodiac, they can go to 5 summons, but I didn't see it happening, so I just sided it out. So because honestly, the Zodiac Glitch build, I just didn't feel it. Yeah, I didn't think it was necessary. And then 2 Skullmeister. The card is absolutely insane. I might bump it up to 3 again, because like just having the ability to negate all your opponent's graveyard effects is so good. You see your opponent go ahead and activate a graveyard effect, be it a Graph, be it a Phantom Knight card, be it a Virtual World Qinglong, be it an Eldritch the Golden Lord, an Eldritch Trap card. Dropping the Skullmeister is so good, and even against Tri Brigade, they tried to activate their Naval. I dropped this, they lost. And it was just so good because they couldn't do anything because I dropped the Skullmeister. Like, Skullmeister is just a really, really insane hand trap, and I'm probably going to put it back up to 3. It is still a really good card, and I feel like it's a free of, but I just wanted to test it out 2, and I feel like 2 is also enough. So I don't know. I'll probably put it back to 3 if I can find space in the build, because I am already playing quite a tight build, but this card is absolutely insane, and I would not cut it for the world. So yeah, those are the monsters though. Monster lineup is really nice. I have no issues with it. It's honestly just perfect in my opinion, and I didn't really have any issues with anything in the deck whatsoever. Like, it literally just ran perfectly. I have nothing else to say. But going on to spells though, we play 3 Magical Meltdown. It's invoked. You're playing 3 of this. It searches your Alistair and prevents your fusions from getting negated. So you play 3 of it. 3 Nadir's Servant. Card is absolutely insane. Sends extra cards to the graveyard to get you more cards in general. Sends Unts to go ahead and destroy cards. Sends Abclone to get you to Schism. Sends anything else, and it gets you to all your Dogmatika cards, which is just really, really nice. The card is absolutely insane. It's in a guaranteed 3 of in any Dogmatika deck. 3 Forbidden Droplets. This is the first time I played Forbidden Droplets in a tournament, and honestly, this card was absolutely insane. Now, I have only recently picked these up. I got these at the beginning of the month for a price. I'm not going to say the price because it's done, but I picked these up, and honestly, being this is the first tournament I played in with them, The card worked wonders. Literally, I used this so many times, be it to half a Zeus's attack that's coming in on me, be it to chain into something that to negate it. Against the virtual world player, I went chain link 1 but in droplets, then he chain link 2'd something, and then I mechabud, and then it was just done from there because I negated it with mechaba. And honestly, this card, it's so good. It really, really is. Just being able to half your opponent's attack, being able to negate any effects, being unchainable half the time. The card is just absolutely insane and did wonders for me. I only cited it out one game, which was against the Zoo Lynch matchup, because I felt like it wasn't really going to do anything against a Golden Lord, and it wasn't really going to do anything against a Zodiac Borbo most of the time. So I felt like there was no point in keeping it in the deck. And honestly, outside of that, it was really perfect. Honestly, Dropless is an insane card, and I'm very happy I was able to get a set of it. But continuing on, we play 2 Invocation. It's Invocation. You play 2. You don't play 1. You can play 3, but I play 2. Simple as that. We also play 2 Pot of Desires. A lot of people say that you should play at 3. I personally feel like in this build, in this deck, you only really need 2. And that's because, well, you don't really want to be banishing all your resources. If you're going to use Desires, it's going to be at a time where you've got majority of your 1-ofs already in your hand. So after you've gone through your whole combo, after you've done everything, you go ahead and Desires to get additional resources, such as hand traps, such as floodgates, such as anything that can really prevent your opponent from playing the game. And you're never going to really use Desires outside of that. And I feel like it's just a good 2-of in this deck. I wouldn't really play it up more because you don't really want to see it, multiples of it. And that is the main reason why you play 2. You don't want to see multiples on it. And even most games, I'm not even going to lie, I normally side out 1 just so I have the 1 in deck for those instances where, oh, I've drawn really bad, but I got Desires, so I banish 10 and then draw 2. And I'm going to be honest, the unplayable hand I used Desires, it was still unplayable. I'm not going to joke about it. But yeah, I only feel like you need 2 Desires. It's a 50-50 thing with a lot of people, but I feel like Desires is better in 2 in this build than in other builds, so we're playing 2. We also play 2 Tactical Talents. This card came in clutch multiple times. They hand trapped me, I dropped the Tactical Talents, I drew 2. The card is just really good. I don't think you need to be playing 3. I feel like 2 is enough. You can play a 3rd if you really, really want, but I feel like it's a good 1, a 2-of. I don't feel like there's needed more of it, because for the pure fact that you can only use this card when your opponent does something, and if your opponent does nothing, the card is literally a dead draw in your hand. The only reason I justify it in Invoked is because, well, I discard it with Mechaba, and then I don't care. Simple as that. So yeah, 2 Tactical Talents, and then we play 2 Cosmic Cyclone and a Harpy's Feather Duster. This is just back row removal. I felt like having it in the deck just so we can go ahead and deal with Eldritch decks, and to be honest, Cosmic Cyclone, insane against Eldritch. Harpy's Feather Duster, great to clear back row. No issues, and these cards came up in clutch at times where I just needed to get rid of a Qinglong or a Chuche, sorry, from my opponent's back row, so they were unable to do anything to my board. I needed to get rid of specific, like my opponent had like 1 set, I Harpy's dusted him, he stopped it. I had the Cosmic Cyclone for the perfect time when they activated a specific trap card. I think it was a Phantom Blade or a Fog Blade. Just really good to have these back row disruption cards in your deck now, and I feel like you should be playing at least 2 Cosmic and 1 Harpy's Feather Duster. Hell, if I had space, I'd even pump the Cosmic up to 3 just to have a slightly more back row disruption, but that's just my points and opinions on it. I feel like that's all you need. And then the final spell we play is 1 Terraforming. It's Terraforming, it searches your Magical Meltdown. There's no reason not to play it, literally. But those are all the spell cards. Spell lineup is very good in my opinion. Honestly, with this whole deck, I have no issues, really. Like, there's maybe 1 or 2 things that I could potentially change. Like, maybe the Tactical Talents out of the deck, or maybe change the ratio of Cosmics, but I'm perfectly happy with this list. I have no real big beasts because it all just synergizes really well together. But going into trap cards, starting off we play 3 Infinite Impermanence. I wanted to play a lot of hand traps. I'm playing about, I believe, 11 hand traps because we're playing 3 Ash, 3 Nibiru, 2 Skullmeister. Yeah, we're playing 11 hand traps, 13 if you count the Tactical Talents for when they're against hand traps. But I wanted to play a lot of hand traps. I wanted to play above 10, and Impermanence right now I think is really, really strong because, well, sure, it doesn't work against Virtual World, but it works against everything else. You play against Dragon Link, you drop the Impermanence on the right card, such as maybe Dragoonity Link, or you drop it on the Needle Fiber, or you drop it on an LP or a Pisty. They can't really play the game from there. The card is just really, really strong, and even against decks like Zodiac, which try to attack you directly with their Borbos and stuff, you can just go ahead and flip the Impermanence. They now have to attack one of your monsters, and if they don't, then they're not going to get their Zeus. So 3 Infinite Impermanence, really, really nice. I just wanted to play a decent amount of hand traps. We also play 2 Dogmatika Punishment. You only need 2, you don't need to play more than 2. Majority of the time I side out 1 anyway for when I'm going second and then put it back in for when I'm going first. But the card's just really good being a disruption on your opponent's turn. It sucks that it does lock you out from your extra deck, for a turn, but outside of that, it's just a really, really nice card that just says, oh, I get to send a lot of different cards from my extract to the graveyard, and those cards that go to the graveyard can give me more advantage, take away advantage from my opponent, or just recycle my advantage. That's pretty much why these cards are good, and it's why we play them. And then the last card we play is One Shadow Schism, because Winder is an absolutely broken card. Simple as that. But that's the main deck. Honestly, I had no issues with the main deck throughout the entire day, except for one bad hand. The deck worked really well, and it was a really fun deck to play. I have to admit, it was very, I'm not gonna lie, there was a lot of times where it was like, oh yeah, we just do normal summon Alistair, then go into the Linky Dinks, and then we go into all this other stuff. But a lot of the times, there was times where I had to think because of specific interactions that my opponent could have done, and that made the deck even more worthwhile playing. So very happy with the list that I have. But going on to the extra deck, we have the obvious Brotherhood tokens, support your locals, the Brotherhood. But starting off, we play one Almirage and one Secure Gardener. This is obviously for the Invoked thing, where you go Almirage from Alistair into Almirage, then go ahead and go into Secure Gardener. I call it Linky Dink because why not? It's just a way to make Purgatorio and Mechaba a lot easy. That's all the reason you play it. One Cross Sheep. We play the Cross Sheep for a specific reason. We don't play it to summon Nightmare Unicorn or an Access Code Talker or anything along those lines. We play the Cross Sheep for Underworld Goddess. Now, a lot of people are probably thinking, why would you play Cross Sheep for Underworld Goddess? Well, my reasoning behind playing Cross Sheep with Underworld Goddess is the fact that if there's a monster in my graveyard that can special summon, and I have an invocation in hand with an Alistair on board, I go ahead and turn the Alistair or another monster into a Cross Sheep. Then I go ahead and use the invocation to summon out any of my fusions from my extra deck. Then I use the Cross Sheep to revive a monster from my graveyard, giving me 3 monsters on board, 2 under it, and then also the Cross Sheep itself. Now, if my opponent has a monster on board that I can't deal with any other way, which did happen in the tournament against the Ark Rebellion Dragon, I go ahead and summon the Underworld Goddess and look at my opponent and be like, your whole board's negated, I got rid of the threat, let's go. Like, that is the whole reason behind the Cross Sheep in this deck, and it came up against the Ark Rebellion Dragon, which I could not out to save my life. There was no way to out it because it was XC summon, so I couldn't destroy it via an effect, I couldn't banish it, I couldn't do anything to the card in general, and my only out was Underworld Goddess, and I won that game for the pure fact that I play Underworld Goddess. The card is absolutely insane. Cross Sheep is the access point to the Underworld Goddess, and it just was really strong and really good, and it really did help at times, and also it just negated the entire graveyard of the Phantomite player every time they tried to summon back a Phantomite card, so just really, really good. Going into Invoked Fusions though, we play one Augustes. On summon, it destroys stuff. When my opponent summons, it destroys stuff, and it's basically just OTK bait, which says, oh yeah, you're going to try and play the game, well, I'm going to OTK you. Like, this card is actually really good and is my last resource for fusion summoning normally, or when I have an OTK potential. One Purgatorio, he's only there for OTKs. This is there to OTK and also destroy things, but this is just OTKs. There's no other reason for the Purgatorio. 2 Mechaba, I don't think you should be playing less than 2 Mechaba. 2 is the right number because it literally just says you have one for the early game and you have one for the late game. You will never summon more than 2. If you do need more than 2, you're probably going to lose. And if you ever feel like you need to, you've got the Augustes as well to just go ahead and OTK your opponent. So I feel like 2 Mechaba is enough. I've never had a problem with it, and I feel like it is the correct number. Continuing on with the other fusions though, we play one Winder. Card is absolutely insane. I don't need to explain it because it says your opponent only special summons once per turn and you win the game. That's what it does. One at Cologne, it gets you to the El Shadow Schism. You need to be playing this card because of with the Dogmatika cards, you send this to the graveyard, you get Schism, you discard Schism, you banish this, then you go ahead and send your Construct and another monster to the graveyard to go ahead and add your Schism back from the graveyard with Construct's effect. The whole point about the Shadow package is that you get to Schism and the Schism allows you to fusion summon into Winder. It is very important and is very, very strong, so you need to be guaranteed to get to those cards. Continuing on though, we also play 2 Unts. I feel like 2 is enough. You don't need to play more because there's a lot of ways to recycle it. But we play 2. One, because of you're not always guaranteed to have it in the extra deck because a lot of the times you could be sending it through other cards, or you don't have the Omega to return it to your extra deck. So you want to be playing at least 2, so you always have it in your extra deck. But the reason we play 2 mainly is because, well, if we've used 1 with our punishment and we've got Maximus on board and we want to pop a card's opponent have, then we can go ahead and send the second one with Maximus and go ahead and pop. That's the whole reason behind it and is very, very useful. We also play 1 Titanclad, sends to graveyard, searches during end phase. Pure reason behind that. There is no other reason. It searches during end phase and is really good for searching during the end phase. And then the last extra card is Omega. We send it to graveyard with Maximus, we recycle any of our cards in the graveyard. It's normally going to be an Unce because we go ahead and pop with Unce, and then we can continuously do that every turn until our opponent has no extra deck. it's just a really good card and is a really good choice, so we go ahead and play the 1 Omega. Card has no downsides in the deck whatsoever. So that's the extra deck. As I said, I have had no qualms with the deck. Extra deck, I think, is perfect. If you ever wanted to cut something, maybe you could cut the Purgatorio and the Amirage and turn the Secure Gardener into the Magistus Link one. But I feel like Purgatorio comes up quite a bit, so I want to play the Purgatorio. That's the whole point of it. But going on to side deck, the whole side deck that I played for the event. Now, I obviously didn't have any clue what I was playing against in this Locals, because I never played in this Locals before. This was NGC. I'd never played in NGC before. I was told about it. So I just made a side deck that I thought would be the best side deck for a lot of different things. So what we chose to side was, we sided 1 Pankratops because of it's this free special summon, it's a big body, and we get to go ahead and pop cards for free. We played 2 Kaijus to deal with stuff like Dragoon, big monsters that we can't deal with, anything along those lines, and against Burning Abyss, I Kaiju'd their Beatrice because I thought they would potentially play Dragoon, which they didn't, but then we Kaiju'd a Beatrice and I was happy. We also play 3 Droll and Logbird for any decks that just search a ton. If your deck searches a ton, we Droll you, you lose, and if Drytron did appear in the tournament, then we play the free Droll for the Drytron player. Free Lancia, anything that banishes, be it Virtual World, which when I drop the Lancia on the Virtual World, he literally passed. Be it against the Eldritch players, then I go ahead and drop it. They can't do anything on their end phase. Be it against any deck that would potentially banish. Lancia is a good card, so we're playing it free. Free Lightning Storm for back row decks. It's pretty much just for that, no other reason. And then free Evenly Matched for also back row decks, because I wasn't sure if we would be playing against a lot of Rogue, or I wasn't sure if we'd be playing against a lot of board building decks, so I felt like playing stuff like Lightning Storm and Evenly Matched would be really good. And it was. I never activated the Evenly Matched. I drew the Evenly Matched once and sided it in once, but I ended up discarding it so I could go ahead and get the Shadow Schism in hand because of they activated a Lancia on me. So yeah. But yeah, that was the video though, guys. Honestly, I did not have any issues with this deck throughout the entire tournament. It was a really good deck. I had 0 problems with it. I had 0 issues. There was only 1 bad hand throughout the entire event, and honestly, to play Locals again after so long, it really felt refreshing. So guys, tell me what your thoughts are on this deck profile in the comment section below. I did come first. I went XO. I played multiple different decks, and I'm surprised I was able to go XO in a tournament that I've never been to before. But hey, I've done it before, regionals and stuff. I did it again here. But guys, tell me what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Do you like this deck? Do you hate this deck? Do you think I did well? Do you think I could have done better? Do you think there were certain things that I might need to change in the deck to make it more consistent? I'd love to hear all your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below, because I really do like this deck, and I really do think it's a fun deck, and it's a really good deck in general that Konami's probably never going to hit as long as it takes. Maybe they might hit Nadir's Servant to 1 at some point, but hey, outside of that, I don't see anything getting hit. But guys, tell me what your thoughts are in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. I'll go ahead and see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to check the links in the description with my Instagram, where I post things, my Discord, where you guys can talk to me if you really want to ask me questions, anything along those lines, and just anything else in the description, really. And yeah, guys, that's the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, as I said, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Robot1 signing out. Alistair is great.